All right, what's up, guys? I'm Bruce, Practical Tactical Prep here in Myrtle Beach. This is our very first episode of our podcast. It's going to be featured on a few different streaming platforms. And with us today, we have Jordan from
Hello.
Phoenix Survival. She's taught at Prepper Camp out in North Carolina for a couple of years. She's former Marines, worked as a contractor for the U.S. government to some degree,
Yes.
Which we'll dive into that. And she's a mom who lives in the area with kids and is a pretty big prepper. She was at our workshop that we just had a couple weeks ago, talking about how to get prepared for any kind of situation, natural disaster, Red Dawn, zombies, all that good stuff. And we're just gonna be diving into a little bit of that today. First thing I like to do, and this is something I might have snagged off somebody else's podcast, is an EDC pocket dump. What do you carry with you every day?
I actually left the bag in the car.
That's okay.
Because I trust y'all here. Nothing in my pockets, but normally I have my wallet, my pen light, a knife, and a gun.
Okay.
And then, of course, his diaper bag. Actually, hold on. I brought that in. I do have something in his diaper bag. Do you care if I grab it? I'm getting out of
No,
it.
go ahead.
So his diaper bag not only has the essentials for baby and an extra water, but I have a pen light and a fire starter
That's awesome.
in here, along with a pen, a rape
genius.
whistle.
Rape whistle, there you go.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
no. That whistle is extremely loud. That I don't look at it for a rape. I look at it as possibly damaging some eardrums. Like, this thing is ridiculous.
Cool.
Yeah, so I
never
always
thought about
keep
that.
flashlight. There's a little pocket knife in here, and there's another little mini revolver in the diaper bag too. But
Cool.
what parent shouldn't be ready for anything?
Yeah, I
even
agree
if
with
it's
So what's your daily carry then when you're out and about parenting?
I actually carry my North American Arms 22 mag revolver, and I also have my Walther PP2
Cool.
9mm compact that I wear as a conceal. And then if I'm really froggy, I have my full-size Canik TPSF9 that I keep in my vehicle at all times. So I always have 3 guns anywhere on me. So
Well, old adage, right? One is a none,
one
two
is
one.
exactly,
Yeah.
and 3 is the perfect number.
Yeah, exactly. The threesomes are welcome. When it comes to guns, guys. Oh, God. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about, what it is you do, some of your experience in terms of prepping and...
Okay, so my name is Jordan. I am the host and podcaster of Phoenix Survival with Prepper Broadcasting Network. I've been a prepper essentially all my life, grew up very poor, grew up very hungry, so because of that, being taught that a woman or anybody in the household should be able to take care of everything, that really set it. I started learning to be very self-reliant at a very early age out of necessity. Taking care of myself at 5, taking care of my siblings by 10, by myself while my mother was a single parent. Learned to crochet and sew at a very early age and be able to start making things and make a side hustle. I grew up in Arkansas, and there it goes.
We have our guest star with us. It's Jericho. So he's going to be featured here. He's calling all the shots, guys.
Right. Grew up in Arkansas, then lived in Mississippi for 10 years, had lots of acre of lands that I could hunt and fish and essentially almost homestead on with my children. So this is a much more urban lifestyle for that little one, but trying to still give him some of those same life skills. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be butchering chickens in the next couple of weekends, so I'll hold off till after the holiday and see if we can all butcher them together.
God,
so you can see that. Prepping for me is a lifestyle. It's not just a hobby or skill set. It is essentially an entire thought process and a way of living.
I don't think enough people are prepared when it comes to even just a natural disaster, because you got stuck at Prepper Camp
Yes.
for Hurricane Helene.
Yes. Well,
What was that like? Because
truthfully,
you shared a little bit.
I wasn't worried. Everyone kept saying, oh, there's a hurricane coming. And the reason I wasn't worried is because I grew up in the mountains. I grew up in the Ozarks, and I've been around the Smokies. That usually when a hurricane hits landfall, it disperses by the time it hits so far inland.
Right.
We honestly were not worried about it. We had friends who were on the Gulf who decided to back out because of their own feelings with hurricanes. Fair enough. No discredit to the people who decided to stay home.
Understandably.
We got out there when the rain was starting to hit. We set up tent, and it was interesting because on this mountain, we had no clue the devastation that the hurricane had caused. There was no power. The cell services were out. Everything was down. We were in a tent in the middle of this.
That's crazy.
Had our friends, the first time they've ever gone camping, in a tent next to us. And then our two buddies who are professional prepper campers with us and host on the PBN network, in hammocks in the trees up on the hill as it's blowing 60-mile-per-hour winds. These guys are said that they were just being swayed to sleep, but but we were very fortunate. Only one site did a tree drop on, but it was interesting because we were cut off from the world. There was no way of getting messages in or out. There was no way of communicating. So it really brought a whole new mindset. Okay, so this is what we do. We're preppers, right? We prepare for SHTF situations in which we want to be able to be ready for anything. I would rather go through a situation like I did with Helene and having the opportunity for modern conveniences to be able to adjust than be put immediately into an SHTF situation and essentially be screwed and not have an alternative. So for us, we had shelter that we could go up onto a pavilion. I pulled all of our breakfast, all of our campwear that was soaked, just soaked. Our tent even got soaked through. And I Scotch guarded that and everything. So I'm now taking bigger precautions. And I cooked breakfast for everything, for everyone. Because you already know, being in the field, being wet and hungry is miserable.
It's the worst.
And cold. So if you're at least wet and cold, but you're full, it's not so bad.
No,
right.
A little less suck.
Right, bacon. Who doesn't love bacon and eggs? I mean, high protein.
That put a smile on my face.
Yeah,
every day.
I had orange
Good day or
juice,
bad day.
bacon, and eggs, and I was, come eat. Telling people I didn't even know, come eat. I was handing out our food. I brought a lot. We had a lot. But at the same time, that's prepper camp. We look at helping out our fellow brothers and sisters. There was one year I was running into prepper camp. I couldn't afford to bring a bunch of stuff with me, and people fed me. And that's what we do. We pay it forward for each other. Learning and having the opportunities to be able to purchase saved us. And then our group actually had chainsaws, which we found out emergency services weren't going to touch the mountain we were on until later on into that week.
Wow.
So if it hadn't been for those guys with the chainsaws, we would have still been on that mountain until probably Wednesday or Thursday that next week. And so we found out the guys went, chainsawed both sides of the mountain down so you could get out, so the elderly and individuals on the mountain could get out. There was one police officer in a 30-mile radius found our boys and had them start trimming out roads along the way. And then on top of that, a woman went into labor right after they had just cleared that main road. So our group being there not only helped us and us practice our skill sets, but also was able to help the entire community and network, because the woman did get to a hospital with no power, but at least she was in a medical facility.
Right.
What would she have done if she had to have given birth on a mountain with no power, no water, no help? So, and as a mom,
Olden days.
Right. As a mom, I've had 4 children. I have no problem giving birth. I've never had issues with it. But all it takes is one instance and there's a complication, and then both you and the life of your child is at risk. So Hurricane Helene was definitely devastating because we were 30 minutes from Lake Lure, which Black Rock is gone.
Yeah.
We were maybe an hour away from Asheville, which they were hit hard. We were blessed, but the devastation is still terrible. I mean, people are without power still, and FEMA has not done anything to help them. Sorry, I didn't mean to go off the whole
you're
rail,
good.
but
You're good.
yeah, we were very blessed, but it was an intense storm. I know I wasn't worried, but the entire time Christopher will tell you he was laying there praying that, terrified that a tree was going to fall on us while we were laying there. Because when these trees, I mean, they're 30 to 50 feet high. It was intense.
No. There's not a lot of time to react to a tree falling.
No.
Especially in a tent.
No, luckily the only thing I could think of is where we were positioned. It was almost like a burn. It was a high buildup around us, and we were down in the area that if one fell, it would fall at an angle. And with where we were laying, pray to God, it would miss us and hit just on the other side of the tent.
That's really crazy. Like, so how did the community? Because you guys helped the community. Besides all of the preppers there, was the community around you grateful that you guys were there?
So
what was the
biggest thing we'd ran into is conflict amongst people who are preppers who decided to not go, which I understand. You made the best call for you, but there are people who are out there a week prior to this happening. News reports said it was going to die down too. We've gotten a lot of grief from individuals in the prepper community who felt like we were taking away from local resources, that we were causing a bigger strain, that we were being ignorant, that people should have known better. Well, I grew up in the Ozarks. I would have told you I wasn't expecting it, that it would keep going. I actually spoke to 3 individuals from the community on our way out, and I had two out. Well, actually, all 3 of them tell us they were grateful. The one gentleman who was helping a woman down the mountain said that he was thankful that someone was able to get down to clear the mountain. He goes, I didn't know who it was. He goes, I knew it wasn't us because the emergency services said they weren't getting to us till Wednesday. He goes, now I'm taking up part to be able to help emergency services get back up to those elderly people in the mountain. Another person said they were thankful we were there because all of the goods in the refrigerators were going to go bad. And then the campgrounds were thankful because they were able to sell everything that, again, everything would have gone bad in a few days because they didn't get power for a week, a good week or 2. The mountain didn't get power for 2 weeks.
That's crazy.
So it was just one of those things. They were thankful to not have a loss of funds because of spoiling resources and then be able to have people help them.
Community is a big part of this. And we've talked about this at length. Is having a good community of people behind you.
Or at least a good network. Even if you can't have an immediate community, you can have a community in the shape of a networking system. Right. I've got friends in North Carolina, I've got friends in Georgia, I've got friends in Tennessee. I've got a community in its own in a network system that if I need to go somewhere, I have places I can go safely.
That's good. Because I know we're trying to build a community as well. And just within like the firearms training and, safety training, functional fitness, all of that, like we're trying to build a community, and it's good to know that like there's other communities out there that are built and also accepting all of this because
it's much bigger than you realize too.
Right.
A lot of people think, oh, I'm just a gun enthusiast, or oh, I'm just a prepper, but my community is not just here. It's not just across the United States, it's global. So we have listeners who listen into us on our podcast, on my podcast on PBN. We've been on the network for over, I've been on air for over 6 years.
Wow.
Our network has probably been on, I want to say almost 16. They've been going for a while. That we have people who tune in from Italy and Germany, and I have a friend from Belgium, and like,
that's wild.
Your network is more than just here. Like once you go down the prepping rabbit hole, just be ready. Be ready, Alice. It's going to get crazy.
No, that's awesome because I know we've kind of expanded, and you've seen like just from meeting at the gun show where we met.
Yes.
It's grown considerably. And so, like with the training you've had previous from just say the military, like how do you feel that that's benefited you? Has it like? Experience-wise, was that kind of what?
My mindset.
Yeah.
Anybody who knows anything about Marine Corps boot camp, it breaks you down to build you up. Back then, though, when I went, mind you, it's been like 16 years. It was a 13-week course. It was the whole deal. Yeah. It changed your mindset on understanding command and camaraderie. I think everybody, maybe it's not a popular opinion, but I think everybody should serve. I think we should do like Israel and everyone be mandated 2 years, unless health or something else.
I agree with that.
That is just a personal opinion, but I think it helps with some patriotism. You need to learn to understand that what you're doing isn't just for you, but it's for your country and your fellow brothers and your family. I feel like the training's taught me to engage and handle things a little more level-headedly because there are many times in training that you want to lose your shit and beat the crap out of the person next to you for something stupid. And
100%.
You can't do that in a time of war and still face your objective if you're losing your shit on the person next to you. It's not worth it.
No.
So you kind of learn to let things just kind of roll off your chest a lot easier and be like, you're an idiot, and keep going. You know?
We love our idiots despite them being idiots.
Nothing like a good wall liquor.
I like to call them window lickers. Yeah.
It's the stanchion recruit.
It's the stanchion recruit. It's the guy who's like, that Windex looks like a tasty color.
No, it's the one who hides behind the pole.
Yeah.
The post in the middle of the room. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like it's definitely given me it's given me more discipline. Now, but I think age has also done that too. I'm not as disciplined as I was in my 20s now that I'm in my mid-30s.
Right, and I agree with that. I think, when we think we're invincible to a degree when we're younger.
I'm terrified now.
Right, now I'm horrified.
I'm not as fearless. I'm like, I don't want to go in that. I could cut my toe and get gangrene, when I was younger. Dive right in, and I'm going to digress. my partner packed his own bag, and he packed like a douche. And he told you that.
Yeah, you did.
Shorts, T-shirts, like he was going on summer vacation. We weren't going up to the mountains. Yeah, misplanning can be a killer in everything. So that's where I would almost rather overpack on certain things than not have it. You can't go wrong with too many socks or underwear. I'm sorry, it just...
No. And I think, proper planning prevents piss poor performance.
Yes.
And I think like when you break that down, that applies to everything in life.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like, because even just going out on a daily, like, have you ever been in a situation where like you forgot your gun?
Yes, and then I feel naked.
Then, right.
Yes, and then I'm
the same
terrified
way.
what happens if something occurs, and then I can't defend myself or my family. So yes,
Almost makes you not want to go into Walmart.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like at least Target, I feel a little safer.
It's almost like a security blanket, and then all of a sudden it's like I've got anxiety.
Right.
Yeah, I don't.
So like I tell Jillian, bring an extra mag because I built her a PSA dagger. We're not sponsored by Palmetto State Armory, but feel free to send us stuff. I built her a custom dagger that takes Glock mags.
Okay.
So then I went and I built one as well because consistency of gear, right? If for some reason, we're in a situation, right, and we have different guns, but, me and you have to get into an altercation where the both of us have to draw weapons,
right.
I can't hand you a mag with your Walther.
Right.
So I always tell her, bring an extra mag if I'm the one carrying, because on the off chance that I forget, as a parent, as a scatterbrain, as an ADD individual that that I am,
Yeah.
at least I know somebody's got one.
Right. At least somebody's going to have more ammunition in that situation.
Yeah.
Well, that's like I keep a speed loader in my car.
Yeah.
It's right there. So, but I am a fan of pistols with double stacks.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of a single stack by
You're not a
any means.
1911 kind of gal?
No.
No?
No. I want to know that once I've shot all of my rounds, I can beat you to death with a heavy-ass paperweight. I mean, essentially, I know that sounds horrible, but at least it's multifunctional
Right,
then,
right. You can always build another gun or get another gun after you pick the hair out.
Right. But I mean, I am a fan of a double stack. I when taught in training, I'm sure you teach you teach yourself after so many times of how many trigger pull, right? You can train yourself to trigger pull 3 to 5 to 10 times.
Right.
Well, we were taught 5. I trigger pull out of habit 3 automatically. But anything past a certain amount of seconds after you start trigger pulling is then considered intent or intentional and they can deem as intent. So for me, it's making sure I'm maximum force. If I'm gonna have to
Monster mascot right there.
right, if I'm gonna have to defend myself or to defend my family, I want to know I can send as many rounds down as quickly as possible and not short myself out, because if you teach yourself to shoot 2 rounds or 3 rounds and you don't hit the target or they don't go down, then you've got to re-aim and everything else. That's why you want to do maximum pull.
Right. And so like we teach bill drills. I like to teach a bill drill. 6 rounds at 10 yards, and your average civilian engagement is 7 yards, right?
Do you teach using a piece of paper?
I like to use paper plate.
When I was first taught, we used one of those yellow legal pad pieces of papers because it's the same size as the center of mass of someone's chest in which you want to hit.
Right.
And so that's what we were taught on targets before we moved to bigger targets. So it's like if you can center in anywhere within that square, then you have hit within the kill zone or critical damage. Yeah. So that was our main training. Then we had to train shooting our opposite hand. We had to learn to immediately pull and lift and shoot from
the hip.
Rest in position. Right. So I enjoy it. I enjoy shooting.
I've definitely seen that a lot of my students, I've given, these drills of, just draw to your holster and present it here right at your belly button and fire 3 rounds. Well, what's the point of that?
What? No, because you still have to, in some level, take an aim right. Because doing this here, you're more likely to hurt somebody else or hurt yourself, because if you're not pulling the barrel up quick enough, or you
could shoot yourself in the foot. So when I tell them to do this is from the position of me to you. I don't have time to fully present.
Right.
Because the physics of it is 1/10 of a second per foot of distance. So if you're coming from here, figure that's 1.5 feet to 4 feet out.
When we were being taught, we'd pull and then we'd have to pull up to our chest, and then if we had range to extend, then we extended, but you could shoot even from center chest. And hopefully, depending on the person, you would still hit within that range, even up tight and close.
Right.
He's going to have to get a pay raise for that.
Yeah. Definitely.
I'm talking about Phil.
Yeah. Oh, I was thinking Jericho too. So this here at Practical Tech, we're a family-friendly company.
Right?
And we especially love our kids. So you're obviously going to see more kids as we make more podcasts. And it's part of inoculating children to some degree of what their parents do, as well as,
need
youth
to
safety.
Immerse them in the culture itself, because what good is training and you know how to do everything, but your children don't understand the ramifications or the safety procedures. All of my children learned gun safety with Nerf guns as a children, and we're going to teach them the same way, because guns are a big part of our home and our lifestyle, but making sure that everybody is safe. I'm dying.
He's using the monster can as a treat.
But it goes to show, I think family is a full immersion. Children are not calm in any sense. Children are not level-headed thinkers. Children are children.
Yeah.
But that's why when you said that you teach on a child's level, not that small, but it made me really excited, because finding someone who can engage with a child and get their attention, because children are children.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we don't send our kids into a parking lot without teaching and explaining cars. Stranger danger. How to look both ways, stuff like that. It's all the same thing.
Even as an adult, stranger danger is a real thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had someone try to come up to my window and read, "Can I get a..." Nope. Do you know where? Nope, I don't live here.
Right.
That's my answer to everywhere, even if I'm local. Nope, I don't live here.
Right. I do the same thing, unless it's like you coming up to my window and I know you.
Right.
Right. And this kind of goes back to what we talked about with if we see an SHTF situation and there's a kid on the side of the road, how do we respond to that? How do you have a plan that counteracts your parental instinct?
Right. And be able to open-mindedly actually assess the situation. Is this a situation where a child is actually truly in danger and you're saving them? Or is this a trap in which they are using a child to feed to our weaker side and to pull us in to take our stuff? Because unfortunately, the world is an ugly place. We're going to see people want what you have, who still wants what you have, that even for Christmas, I don't put my Christmas tree in front of the window. Over the years, those were the houses that always got broken into, especially
I remember that growing up.
Yeah, so I, even to this day, refuse to put my tree where it can be seen in the window.
Yeah, we keep ours back of the house. We got our cameraman Phil here, also playing babysitter. He's doing a great job.
I really wish one of y'all was recording this from that point of view, because I'd love to post that. That is
so. Yep, Phil, Rod, and Ethan here. They're chasing our guest star.
And watch, as soon as I get in the car, he'll be out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I had a great time at the podcast, Mom. I'm gonna take a nap
No,
now.
I've got to run to Sam's Club, run to Walmart. I mean, I'm still, so, we're coming up on the holiday season. All right, so for me, for example, let's just do it this way. I give prepper gifts.
Okay.
Stocking stuffers, what have you. Christopher is getting some gear for his go bag, even though we don't usually do Christmas for each other because it's focused on the kids. We buy all year round. My little microphones was his gift to me. I told him he was getting me some gifts.
It's my gift to me through him.
Right. I do all the finances anyways. But so I got my oldest child is getting really big into bushcrafting. He wants to
Awesome.
Do woodworking. He wants to learn how to make it. He's trying to make his own duck calls. He's been trying to make his own homemade squirrel trap. So I bought him a squirrel trap. I bought him a new military 25-liter bag that buckles. It's good pattern, decent. I also got him some bushcraft books, but what I did for gonna go into each one's Christmas stocking is an emergency blanket. I got bivy sacks. I've got, almost military grade glow sticks.
Well, those are fun for all ages, even grown-ups.
Yes, but it's also great in stressful situations.
Yes.
But so each of them can have those in their packs. I've got little things I'm building up on their kits. My son's got a full bushcraft kit where it's got a collapsible shovel and LED lights and flashlights and headlamp and first aid kit. Because if you're gonna get people into it, I think it's great. Like, I would love to get my son this fire starter. It's a Pure fire starter.
Okay.
Top of the line, love it. But I gotta make sure he's gonna use the little tiny magnesium one first before I go invest $30, $40 into a really great one, which, I mean, we all have one as adults in our house, but it's
I use a Blackbeard fire starter.
No, this has a lifetime warranty on it. Like, you'll get to meet the creator of it. He'll be at
awesome.
Prepper Camp. But that's just it. Those are the kind of gifts. So every year, even at Easter, my kids get, so one year my kids got all Sawyer mini filters. So is that something you're looking at doing in your household, is start implementing gear or support for your own family or your wife?
So I actually do the same thing for the holidays. I was raised Jewish. My wife, they celebrated Christmas their whole lives. And I've kind of gotten into more of a Yule festival, traditional Yule style, where it's kind of like a whole month of stuff. And, you know, like last year, I did a camping stove for Tom, like a little backpack one that folds up into a nice little orange case.
Where you use the...
You use a Bunsen burner.
Yeah.
It's like a Bunsen burner.
Okay,
Yeah,
I was trying to think of what you
can.
call them they use when heating up food at buffets. My brain's not working.
Like the candles?
Yeah, what are those called, the little oil tins?
No, I know what you're talking about, but I don't know what they're called. No.
Christopher has some in his bag.
Yeah.
He keeps them, sternos.
There you go.
He keeps sternos in his bags because they're great for an emergency heat source and don't take anything.
Yeah, that's genius.
Yeah, so he uses sternos. But I'm listening. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. So I got like Tom a little, camping stove that attaches to propane tanks because we have a decent amount of propane we keep on deck.
Same.
Because at the end of the day, it's at least a safer fuel source than like trying to use gasoline or if you can't get a fire started because you're waterlogged, right?
Yeah.
What do you do?
No. Well, now that's just it though. Even the Coleman propane, once it gets overly densed with water, you can't get it started either. It took me a while I could get it started because Hurricane Helene had done havoc on her. But I'm a fan of a kerosene heater. I'm actually looking at getting us a convection kerosene heater. Used to have one for years. Kerosene is expensive, but it burns much slower. It puts off a lot more heat, and it is an oil base, so that's why it doesn't burn off as quickly as gas or diesel.
Which is smart. I don't think a lot of people give thought to that either.
Oh yeah, no. In Mississippi for 10 years we had a kerosene heater, so when the power went out or our propane went out, kerosene heater was big enough that our living room and kitchen was 2 of these rooms put together. Our one little 1970 model kerosene heater heated up the whole room. We'd just hang a sheet to block off the hallways.
Right.
Kept that whole area warm. That we'd just hang out in that part of the house. Kitchen and living room, you were good.
Yeah. See, that we kind of had something similar. We had like one of those Amish fireplaces.
Okay, I grew up with a fireplace.
Yeah. Yeah, my parents didn't. So I was raised by accountants. They didn't have any prepping skill. They're not used to that. Jewish accountants from New York, they were like, oh, no, we don't know how to do any of this. And so now I'm telling them about all this stuff. And, my 75-year-old father's going out and buying prepping stuff.
Right.
And he's like, well, how do I use it? So I got to spend time explaining it to them. But on the gift side, I going to digress in here. I got my oldest, Athena. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got her a little sling bag that she can put some snacks in. It's got a flashlight in it. And I just keep a regular old lighter in there because getting started, it's just super simple, right? For everybody, I got them a propane fill lighter, like it looks like a pen. Mm-hmm. Put that in there. There's a little stocking stuffer, wool socks.
I'm a fan of the wool.
For my mother-in-law, I got her like a go bag, like a nice go bag. Uh-huh. Even though, we have a bunch of them in the house, I got her one that she liked, color-wise and stuff. Obviously, I had to find out, but something that is like a comfort item. Like, I have a cool purple bag now. It makes me a little bit happier. Is it tactically advantageous to have a purple bag?
Well, but not everybody's going to look at it because, to be honest with you, if it hits one of those situations where someone has to leave the house and she has to leave with their backpack, they're not going to stop her for having a purple backpack.
No.
They're going to get you for having a tactical-looking backpack.
Absolutely.
And so for my children, I would go, Walgreens at the end of the year would have clearance backpacks. I paid like 25 cents a backpack. They were camo and orange, but the kids liked it. Yeah. No one thinks anything about children carrying just a simple little backpack. And most people who I suggest starting out on prepping who want to have a go bag or a carry bag, and you want to keep the gray man aspect, get something a little less conspicuous. I mean...
JanSport backpack.
Right. If you like Blue's Clues, wear Blue's Clues. I'm not going to dish you for it. If anything, I'm going to laugh at you and be like, you ain't got shit in that, and not give you a second thought. So
there's a degree of gray man that you want to have, as well as a degree of tactics.
Well, as a woman, though, in all of my bags, and I advise all women to, I carry more masculine style clothing. Not to say children, like boys, aren't targeted. They are. But I'm less likely to be stopped looking like a boy than I am a girl, which means makeup goes off, hair gets pulled up into a hat that's going to cover my face, a boom cover. I'm going to wear baggier clothes so I don't have any because elsewise, me walking around in baggy clothes, I look like a 14-year-old little boy. I'm the same size as a 14-year-old little boy. So, I mean...
Well, I wasn't going to say anything, but...
I already know. Right. I already know. But that's just it, is in certain situations you need to be aware of what is and isn't safe. Regardless whether you're male, female, what you're carrying, what you have, because people are going to stop you based on if you're walking around in that
They're going to profile you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. People are like, oh, you can't profile. You know what? How many times profiling is correct, though? How many times is it correct?
99% of the time I would say profiling is correct. And, they teach, even at police academies, I know, here at the South Carolina Justice Academy, they tell you don't want to profile people, but then you have that conversation with your squad, you get out, and it's like, no, you're going to profile people.
When I was taking advanced courses in home invasion, we actually had an instructor who used to train FBI. Like, he was full-on special tactics with the FBI. And he says, you do profile. Yeah. He goes, you don't say it. He goes, but there's a part of you have to profile to assess. Say, Phil over here is giving me some squirrely little creepy eyes. I'm going to slightly profile that and be like, okay, I need to be on guard. Now, right. Phil's not doing that. He can't even...
It's giving us the eyebrow raises.
Those are some killer eyebrows, though, so I'm not going to hate on him for it. But you see what I'm saying?
Agrees.
It's just, you have to have some level of awareness for anything you do, whether it be prepping, whether it be... Because I'm going to be honest with you. I see you out in public and be like, oh, this man thinks he's hard shit. I'm going to go after you just to see if I can knock you down a level just because I'm an egotistical asshole, But...
Right, and to a degree, I follow through with keeping... There are days where I'm more of a gray man.
Right.
But as a 6'1", 220-pound meat eater, I already have a somewhat aggressive demeanor to your normal person.
I'm a 5'2", 120-pound woman, and you look at me, and if you didn't know me, I'd be like, oh, I can knock her over just pushing her. Yeah, I've had friends tell me, you look, what's the word? Not high maintenance, but I look delicate. And then I open my mouth.
Right.
And it's like, oh, that's not delicate.
Well, the first thing I thought when I saw you at the gun show was like, oh, she probably doesn't have any training. She might want to get some shooting skills. Like, you were very much under the radar.
Yes.
Your husband looked like he might be a little bit more of a meat.
And it's a completely,
you started talking, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, yeah. So, but he is, in essence, a Baltimore prepper. He is a knock down doors, take your shit kind of guy who has, was there for J6 and everything else. So,
you probably shouldn't eat the pen, Bubba.
Him. But it just goes to show that, yes, so our mindset, I'm rugged, I'm more country, I'm more, can I kill it, can I eat it, will it eat me? It's one of those things is, I had to give my children, the reason I had to give my children the water filters is because I had a child who kept drinking out of the pond, and directly out of the pond, and thank God, 11 years old, she's doing great, but I gave her a mini water sawyer because of the fact that I caught her drinking face first out of the water, out of this pond.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, sweetheart, why'd you do that? I'm thirsty. I'm like, I have water. But it's right here. I'm like, oh my God, you're gonna get an amoeba. Let's not do that, So it was one of those realizing children aren't gonna think like us. So that's when I really upped my game on my exposure to my children, becoming the mindset of my child so I understand their thought process. Because I'm like, okay, fair enough, I get it. Like, I understood, but
I drank out of a water hose.
But that's a little bit different.
It's a little bit different,
but... Versus a 100-foot pond that has, we fish out of it, right? And the drainage pond for the other pond, so it's like...
Kind of nasty.
Yeah, it's nasty.
I would
Great fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, delicious fish, but...
I wouldn't drink out of it, no, not barefaced.
I wouldn't swim in it.
No.
No.
But like, for... I have the mindset of, if I'm going to go out with the family, I'm going to be kind of a little bit more of an aggressive stance, in profile. Right. Where I wear, tack pants, or at least cargo pants.
No, my favorite is going out looking cutesy. So then you don't think about it. I mean, I've been targeted before just because, I'm not wearing this, but even in something like this, though, is being cutesy and dressed up. And it's like, let's play a game, because you're not going to win.
Let's play FAFO.
But I get it. But it's funny, though, is if I go out wearing BDUs and tactical stuff, people still look at me like, oh, she's playing dress up.
You kind of have that advantage.
I do, but at the same time, it's also a disadvantage unless you know me, unless you're part of the group, you're not going to take me seriously. And my friends know I have a temper. I'm not a very nice person unless I like you, and in which case I'm gonna bust your balls twice as hard.
Right. A first-hand experience.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, and I'm good with that. I prefer that.
Phil knows I have already gone straight for him.
There's a degree of that that's good when you build a community, like we've talked about. Is
Sorry.
you never showcase 100% of who you are to the public.
No.
Right? Because we have our public face, our private face.
I don't know. I am pretty much the same person on air and off air.
Yeah.
There are certain comedy aspects to me I keep to my group just because, that sense of humor isn't for everybody.
No.
But
we can't all have a Tropic Thunder sense of humor 100% of the time.
No. Oh, I actually got him a patch.
I have one right up there. Can't go full.
Yes, I got him that same patch. So yes, but the way I talk, the way I present myself as a prepper, I don't keep it quiet. Am I going to tell you all the stuff I have? Absolutely not. But I am not shy to say, hey, I'm a prepper. Hey, I show my face and talk about it on the radio. Hey, I'll tell you what town I live in. If you really want to dox me, then that's your problem because that's your mistake.
Right. So like, what is another experience you think your prepping has helped you? Like a COVID.
So I believe in having. I tell people every time I tell people to start prepping to have about a month's worth, but I believe you should have 3 to 6 months worth in your house at any given point in time. And because of that, we had more than that between 2 households. I don't keep all of my stock in one household. Here, unfortunately, it's not like it was back home where I could pass it out between friends. We had pantries that we'd keep it all in. So if something happened, you
can go.
A fire happened, then all my food wasn't burnt up at one house. But COVID hit, and stores were being shut down. You had people, buying and hoarding, and
the great toilet paper disaster of 2020.
I knew it was coming. What's funny is we already had stocked up on toilet paper. Well, when you have 6 butts in the house, you have to have a lot of toilet paper
clean
anyways.
Butts.
But I stock up on everything. But we were watching the counts when it was only 5 count, and we already knew, watching China, what was going to happen before it hit here. But I digress. So I found that during COVID, I didn't have to grocery shop for like the first 6 months. I did not. I only went out to buy a bag of charcoal once because I forgot to stock up charcoal. You don't think about grilling. I walk in, and this is where I got grief for being a prepper. I go in and I pick up a bag of charcoal and I'm speaking to an employee and she goes, oh, so it's your fault for all this hoard buying. I said, no, I'm a prepper. I don't hoard it. I said, I only stock what I need. And I said, and I've been doing this so long, I was ready before this ever hit. I said, I'm just here to watch the shit show. I said, these are the people who failed to prepare for any situation and only buy a day's to a week's worth of food in their home. She goes, oh, I'm sorry. It's one of those where people want to blame preppers for being this off-the-chart thing, and then COVID hit. Now preppers are this
voice of reason.
Right, are very respected mindset because we were always seen as being these crazy wingnuts and doomsday preppers, which is one of the worst shows in histories, and gave such a bad stigma to preppers that we aren't. Yes, you do have your extremists in any group, whether it be everyday life or not, but that's not what we are. We're about anything that alters, affects, or derails everyday living. So hurricane, tornado, flood, fire, loss of work. Saving a little bit of money is prepping. Saving a little bit of food is prepping. Saving extra clothes for your kids for next season, that's prepping. You're doing something even if it's on a small scale to large scale.
And I definitely had similar experiences during COVID because I saw what was happening in China. Mm-hmm. And I instantly thought, do I have like basic medicine? Mm-hmm. Like, do we have like emergency. Like I didn't think beforehand like emergency was a good plan because, when do we all get sick? And it didn't happen a lot, even with young kids. So I went to CVS and I stocked up on all this stuff. And the lady at CVS stopped me. She goes, why are you getting all this? Like, what's the point of this? Like, we're not going to have any. And I'm like, okay, well, to be fair, I'm only buying enough for my family.
Right.
And what I'm buying is not something we're going to be using every day. Mm-hmm. So my game plan here is just to be slightly prepared for the next couple months. 3 months of emergency is, 4 boxes, right? Not a lot.
Right.
Especially when you only have 3 or 4 people in your household.
No, anything past a certain amount, people are always leery of or questioning you. Here's the thing about prepping. Whatever you go into it with confidence and keep your head up, and who cares if they question you. If they have to ask, then that's their problem. Right. A lot of times, well, what are you getting this for? I just am. A lot of people lie. Yeah. It's nobody's business.
Big house.
Yeah, it's nobody's business.
Right.
It really isn't, because I'm making sure my family and my friends are going to be taken care of. I don't care what anyone else thinks.
Yeah, and there's a degree of that you have to have.
Yes.
So I have a couple different rigs here. I wanted to get on this before we cut our show here. You're in textiles. So
Yes.
what I have here is an Agilite K19 plate carrier from Agilite. And then I have what you would think is almost the exact same plate carrier from a company called Tacticon Armament. So I bought them because they're pretty much the same thing when you look at them at face value. And I wanted to get your take on what you think quality is really worth. And then, I'll cover how much each one costs to give people an idea.
Just here on the straps alone, I mean, this is a tighter weave, but these are still really great straps on here. Like it's hard to get this quality straps just in some of the stuff I do. I usually buy and repurpose military, so that's the same quality. The only thing is, oh, that's good Velcro. My bad. Ha, all right. It is a bit thinner. Is it thinner on yours too? Okay, so they're both a bit thin. Okay. I'd say it's actually pretty close. Yeah. I mean, I'm not hating on this. I actually like that this has a tighter weave on it. Then here it's not as padded as yours is, but that doesn't mean you couldn't put a good trauma pad in there. Yeah, I don't hate this.
So how much do you think a plate carrier like this would cost to people? Because people go out and they spend, exuberant amounts, and then they spend no money on Chinese crap.
Right. On average, I see $200 to $300 per carrier. The fact I got mine as cheap as I did was a steal, because all the carriers that we were looking at without the plates were $230 to $300.
Yeah.
How much is this one?
So this right here was only $115 on Amazon.
Seriously?
Seriously, 100%.
That's not bad.
And it's almost the exact same thing as a $250 plate carrier from Agilite.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. I would be curious, though, to see how it holds up once you put plates in it.
That's going to be our next thing. If you're looking at getting a plate carrier, I highly recommend the Agilite plate carriers. And I work on the R&D team, so I helped them develop a lot of the stuff. It's an Israeli-based company. But when I saw that they had something similar for a little bit of a cheaper price point, I couldn't help myself but at least even introduce people to it, because I've got a lot of people who've asked about this, and it's
Would my steel
more
plates
expensive.
fit in this?
Yeah.
We want to put this through a test sometime?
Yeah.
I'll bring my plates and we'll try it out and see how it holds up.
Well, I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
There's some steel in there.
Yeah, we'll make Phil run with it.
Yeah. Give us the eyebrows while he's running. All right, guys. Well, it's been great. This is our first episode here that we shot. Wanted to thank Jordan from Phoenix Survival. And then, obviously, our team here and our guest star, Jericho, running around.
Yeah, somewhere. Oh, there he is.
You can also catch us on Her Preppers Broadcast Network channel, Phoenix Survival. We've been on there a couple times, and we look forward to doing some more. So thank you, guys.